Failure. Failure is such a natural aspect of our everyday lives, yet it's something that we actively try to avoid at all costs. And why is that? Why do us humans have a fear of failure? Failure can be seen as ultimately not reaching your goal, whether that's failing to land a job or failing at a competition or simply failing an exam. Ultimately, the fear of failure isn't necessarily the event itself, but it's how we perceive the event that just occurred. Failure is the event plus the meaning that we assign to it. Now, notice that last part, the meaning that we assign to it. For some people, failure is a stepping stone, while for other people, it feels like it's the end of the world. And why do we react differently? Our fear of failure often stems from three places, and that's our upbringing, society, and within ourselves. As kids growing up, many of us are taught that success equals approval. Whether it was with our grades, through athletics, or social achievements, success often brought praise, while there was a negative connotation that came with failure, and that was being criticized or being shamed. This created a subconscious belief that failure makes you unworthy of love and respect. And then there's, of course, the societal aspect. We live in a culture that idolizes perfection and achievement. Social media amplifies this as we're shown curated versions of everyone's lives where everyone seems successful, flawless, and happy, and failure just doesn't even seem to fit that narrative. And finally, we fear failure because of our own self images. We attach our own worth to our achievements and our success, but when we fail, it just seems like a personal attack to us, and it feels like we're not good enough. The fear of failure doesn't just protect you from disappointment and embarrassment, it often stops you from growing. When we avoid failure, we avoid taking risks, we play it safe, and we stick to what's comfortable to us. But through this, we never even get to reach our full potential. An example of this is Thomas Edison, who failed over 1,000 times when it came to creating a light bulb, yet he ultimately succeeded because he kept going. Another example, Michael Jordan, who failed to make, no, he got cut from his high school basketball team, yet he kept going and he ultimately became an NBA legend. Failure wasn't the end of the world for them, it taught them lessons. Even in scripture, we're reminded of this truth. And it is written in Proverbs 24, chapter 16, that for a righteous man may fall 7 times and rise again, but the wicked shall fall by calamity. And what this teaches us is that it doesn't matter how many times you fall, if you're willing to get up and keep going, then you'll succeed. Whereas if you just fall and stay stagnant where you are, you'll never amount to anything. So, how can we go ahead and overcome this fear of failure? It all starts with reframing how we look at it. Instead of viewing failure as a end of the road, dead end, we should see it as feedback and a lesson and not judgment. Every ounce of failure will bring you closer to success, whether you're willing to embrace it or not. And the truth is, failure isn't something to be afraid of, it's something to welcome because every ounce of failure carries a seed of growth. And the question isn't whether you will fail or not, because you ultimately will. The question is, what will you do after and how will you respond?